Hello. My name is Jones, and today we are going to look at different types of counseling. Okay, so in this discussion, we will look at group counseling, we'll look at couple counseling, we'll also look at some of the essential skills and attributes of couple counselor and couple counseling. We will also look at another type of counseling which is known as preventive counseling. We'll also look at supportive counseling, okay, as one of the types of counseling, okay, and there can be more types of counseling other than this that we are going to discuss, okay. So to begin this lesson, first let us now look at group counseling. Group counseling is a form of therapy in which people benefit from through shared experience. So you have people with a similar problem, you put them as a group and then counsel them about a certain ailment or disease. And in this, we can talk about, let's say, pregnant women that are HIV positive. So you can talk to them as a group and not necessarily reviewing that, no, this one has got this problem, this one has got this problem, but as a group, you can talk to them in general terms on how best they can keep themselves and prevent the spread of HIV from mother to child. Okay, so it can also be a group of people who are coming for diabetes. Okay, so you can put them as a group and teach them, okay, about diabetes and how to live healthy, okay, with diabetes. It is important that due to sensitive nature of certain diagnoses, you can be as general as possible in trying to give group counseling. Okay, so in a group counseling, you necessarily give more information on some doubts that the people that are seeking counseling would want to be clarified. And instead of clarifying for each and every individual, it would be time consuming, but you pick these points and necessarily counsel as a group so that all of them, they have the information. Okay, so group counseling has also been looked at consisting of between 5 and 8 people, supported by facilitator or members that meet together regularly to learn more about themselves and how they can relate to each other. These groups can take a variety of forms. Some may focus on specific topic or problem, while others may address a number of different concerns. Okay, so the aim of group counseling is necessarily to give the strength, okay, the strength that is needed for people to pull through a certain diagnosis that they may have. Okay, so in our psychosocial counseling, necessarily we can look at HIV, but we can also look at other types of things when you're talking about genetic counseling, okay, where you counsel couples about certain diseases that can be passed genetically. Okay, so when you're talking about group counseling, necessarily you give more information about the probability of them having a certain gene being passed on to the baby. Okay, so it will help people to be more assertive when you give them more information about the disease. And it will also help to clear an individual, okay, within the group so that they develop some emotional awareness and be able to be stronger and confident about the condition that they have and how they are managing it. Okay, so group counseling relies on well-ordered group dynamics for achieving real results. The health worker must ensure that they motivate the group to achieve a behavioral change. Okay, families and communities can also be engaged in this group counseling so that they can be supportive to people that may have a certain condition, and this can also help to fight stigma and discrimination. Okay, so the family person or member, okay, that may have certain specific questions because they have someone who has a condition within them also that needs to be helped, so that as they go home, in case they have someone with a certain condition, they can also help them. Okay, so with the advantage of group counseling is that it will require careful planning, okay, by the group. For instance, there is need to make sure that the group has similar characteristics such as age, sex, social status. So this is to help for easy mingling within the group, and also it will become easier for people to learn more about their perceived educational gaps. Okay, so also experience here, it will also experience and choosing carefully the group members, it will help them to learn from more common grounds of some of the things that they might have faced. It will also help them discover that necessarily they are not alone within this condition. There are a lot of people that are willing to give information about that, and there are a lot of people that are willing to come and listen to this information so that they can help within the community without necessarily group members knowing that some of the people that are within the group necessarily are either affected or infected. So we can also hear ideas from others in a group which can enhance ability to make decisions and solve problems. Okay, so the one head, say 2 heads is better than 1. So when you're a lot, sometimes you learn from experience from others so that you can solve your problems, and like he just being alone as an island. So group counseling is where people with a similar problem come together, share ideas, okay, on how to solve their problems depending on the challenge or of the diagnosis that they might have. Okay, so from group counseling, now let us look at couple counseling, okay, which is another type of counseling. So couple counseling is a type of counseling which involves counseling of 2 people who may be married or could be of the same sex or different sex. It is very important to note that a counselor must understand how personal awareness can help them, okay, prevent personal issues from influencing their interaction with the couple during counseling. So couples, we are looking at people that might be married, okay, and with the evolving of the world, here we have sometimes same-sex marriage and the like. So when you're counseling about HIV or counseling about any other condition within this couple, it's important that your belief do not necessarily start to influence the feeling of this couple negatively, because it may affect the counseling process. It is also necessary to learn about the importance of forming alliance during a couple counseling for HIV or any problem that the couple is having. Additionally, a counselor must direct communication from them to the couple and from each member of the couple to each other. The counselor can also develop education skills that may help the couple ease tension and diffuse blame during the counseling session. Okay, so here we want the couple to work cohesively together, so they can develop a routine of taking drugs at the same time so that they can be reminding each other. So this will enhance cohesion, cooperation, okay, and also adherence. When working with couples, there are certain skills that can help the counselor establish a positive environment, and that can range from clarity of what the client is saying, gathering information, and also offering support or encouragement to the couple. So in couple counseling, it is important that you exercise the skill of attending skills. You use the other skill of using open-ended question, okay, and also use of probing questions in order to get the appropriate information that you need. The other skill in counseling that you can necessarily use, okay, amongst the practical skills of a counselor is that of empathizing, paraphrasing, and reflective listening. So these are practical skills of a counselor. So you have to ensure that you use them in couple counseling so that your communication may not be offensive, and it will help you to have a lot of awareness of your body communication. So with this said, it is important that we also understand some of the essential skills and attributes of couple counselors. So couple counseling is different from working with individuals in the approach that the counselor takes and in the techniques that the counselor sometimes may use. So there are about 5 skills or attributes that couple counselors need to keep in mind in order to work successfully with couples. So these attributes include counselor self-awareness, includes number 2, capacity to tolerate intensity, 3, ability to both validate and challenge. Then number 4 attribute is that of recognition that relationships are full of contradiction. Then the 5th one that we can talk about is that of understanding relationship in the context of cultural values and norms. Of course, we can also look at the 6th attribute, which has to do with understanding perception and concerns about difficulties and challenges of working with couple who have just been tested for HIV and the result is positive. Otherwise, the 5 main attributes are the ones that we have just talked about. To add more fresh on the counselor self-awareness as an essential skill, okay, for couple counseling, counselors should be aware of their own beliefs, biases, feelings, perception, and reaction, and how their perspective may affect the counseling session. The counselor who is in tune with his abilities, okay, and challenges or biases, you have the ability to gauge his or her responses to the couple as they are counseling them. Self-awareness also allows the counselor to provide unbiased empathy. Okay, it will also help them to understand the situation as the client is putting it forward, and hence support the couple within this situation. So it is important, if you are a couple counselor, that you develop the attribute of self-awareness. You as a counselor, you might have been in a perfect marriage or in a marriage that is well off than the person that you are counseling, and then you see some of the minor problems that they might be facing, to say, oh, are these minor problems now a question of divorce? Because when I look at maybe my own situation, these are problems necessarily that we, as couples, we can learn to talk about and necessarily move forward. Okay, so the other essential skill and attribute of couple counselor is that of capacity to tolerate intensity. Couple relationships are dynamic and complex, and HIV-related issues may be emotionally intense. The counselor must be able to tolerate this intensity while maintaining a consistent and supportive stance with the couple. The counselor will need to facilitate conversation and encourage the couple to deal with the challenging issues. The couple's confidence in the counselor's ability to manage the session enhances their ability to relate to and deal with the important issues. In both individuals and couple counseling, that is, in both individual and couple counseling, the counselor must be able to tolerate strong emotions and feelings. However, for couple counseling, the situation is more dynamic and complex because the counselor is dealing with two individuals who have a relationship with each other. So a counselor's capacity to tolerate intensity is a skill often acquired over time and with experience and maturity. So capacity to tolerate intensity whilst you are counseling a couple is one of the essential skills and attributes that a counselor needs. Sometimes there might be some minor fights or verbal fights that may ensue within the counseling. So the counselor needs to see how to chip in and necessarily help with the situation, or else it might become a wrestling match. Okay, so the other essential attribute that a couple counselor needs is the ability to both validate and challenge. The counselor must have the ability to validate the couple's feelings and perception. At the same time, the counselor must challenge the couple to address the realities of the situation that has brought them for counseling. And in this case, when you're talking about psychosocial counseling, it can be HIV. So how is this then going to change their lives, or how are they going to adapt their lives within the community? The counselor must also encourage the couple to take action and reduce the transmission of HIV by preventing mother-to-child transmission and also preventing reinfection. So it is each and every individual within this couple to take responsibility to avoid reinfection, and this reinfection may lead to drug resistance. Hence, if at all we have drug resistance, their lives will not be prolonged by use of antiretroviral drugs. So it's important that they take responsibilities of all measures and approaches that can be used to reduce reinfection. Okay, so the other essential attributes, the other essential attribute or skill that a couple counselor needs is the recognition that relationships are full of contradiction. Okay, so couple counselors must understand that couples' strengths and weaknesses sometimes will arise from the challenges that they may face because of a crisis that has come in place. For example, the counselor should acknowledge the wish of the couple to preserve the relationship even while they struggle to accept the behavior change that is required between one another or for each and every individual. Engaging in behaviors that increase the risk of HIV transmission may both engaging in behaviors that increase the risk of HIV transmission. Okay, engaging in these behaviors may benefit all members or all couple members. Hence, the need for each and everyone to adhere amongst the couple so that they do not put the other member or the other individual within the couple at risk. Okay, so then the other essential skill attribute of a couple counselor is that of understanding relationships in the context of cultural values and norms. Okay, this is because culture, gender, dynamics, religious background, and economic status shapes a couple's relationship. The counselor must understand and recognize that these dynamics exist while respectively engaging both partners in the session and valuing equity and human dignity. So it is essential that a couple counselor understands that the perspective and background that the couple have in terms of religious or culture is going to influence the command that exists within the couple. Okay, but it is important that the dignity of each and every individual is maintained. Hence, it's also important to understand the perception and concerns about the difficulties and challenges of working with couple after testing for like HIV or other conditions that may change these couples' behavior. Counselors may imagine consequences for couples that are far worse than the reality of how couples handle HIV results or disclosure. For example, research suggests that in general, disclosure has not been associated with the breakup of marriages, and less than 15% of discordant couples initially experience some psychological stress, but they end up patching up. And then research has also shown that less than 5% of stable couples separate or divorce after disclosure of HIV positive test result. Among these couples, in most instances, follow-up counseling services can help ease the tension, diffuse the blame, and promote reconciliation. The other part of research has also shown that less than 5% of stable couples experience violence as a result of receiving their test for HIV. Okay, so couples learn to understand the benefit of knowing HIV status, and constructively they are going to express their feelings and ideas so that they gain more knowledge about the status of HIV. Okay, so these are some of the essential things that we need to know about couple counseling. So we have talked about the essential skills and attributes which a couple counselor should have, and that is self-awareness, capacity to tolerate intensity, ability to both validate and challenge, recognition that relationships are full of contradiction, and also understanding relationships in the context of cultural values and has. Okay, apart from that, we looked at some elements of research. Necessarily, what it has shown that in general, disclosure has not been associated with the breakup of marriages. Okay, so people now tend to learn more about the condition and how they can support each other. Okay, so with that discussed, let us now look at preventive counseling. Okay, when we say preventive counseling, it refers to the counseling strategy designed to provide continuous information and education for the promotion, motivation, and adoption of HIV risk reduction behaviors. It also seeks to promote awareness and understanding of adverse effects of HIV, and also enhances coping capabilities of people so as to improve their quality of health and social well-being. Okay, so preventive counseling helps in many ways in order to avoid reinfection and sustain a healthy or positive living for the couple. Counselors need to take a proactive step to interact with the people and the community, sensitizing them about HIV and AIDS, and clarifying knowledge gaps and misconception with regard to HIV/AIDS. It also involves helping people sustain desirable behaviors in the context of HIV prevention. Communities need factual information about HIV and AIDS so that you support them in the effort of eliminating HIV and AIDS and having a generation free from HIV. People need to be educated on the modes of HIV transmission, which includes having and protected penetrative sexual intercourse with a partner who is infected with HIV through vaginal, anal, or oral sex, especially in the presence of untreated STIs. Okay, and then the community also needs to know about other modes of HIV transmission, which is contact with HIV-infected blood or body fluids through blood transfusion, skin piercing with contaminated instrument and sharps, or splashing of contaminated body fluids into broken mucous membranes and on broken skin. Okay, so other modes of HIV transmission that the community necessarily needs to know is that of mother-to-child transmission. Okay, as we have already covered also this within our psychosocial topics that we have been discussing. Okay, so preventive counseling, to do with HIV and AIDS, helps to avoid reinfection. Helps for people to live a good, positive life. Then we can talk about supportive counseling. Supportive counseling for psychosocial counselors here. We are saying HIV and AIDS is emotionally charged issue that is frequently associated with fear, stigma, and prejudice. Myths, misunderstanding, and mistreatment of clients can result from the sense of panic that surrounds HIV and AIDS. People could either be infected with HIV, that is having HIV virus in their body, or affected, that is being surrounded by people that are living with HIV. In both cases, people have critical issues that preoccupy their minds, and they need professional help to address these issues. So some of the issues that affect people when they are infected or affected by HIV and AIDS may include emotional issues or cultural issues. On emotional issues, people tend to have fear. There's issue or element of stigma. There are also issues of isolation, where one diagnosed to be positive, when they reduce weight and the likes, they find that they lose the friends and they find themselves in isolation. There will be discrimination. There can be marginalization or rejection. So these are some of the emotional traumas or issues that necessarily come with the HIV and AIDS. Then the cultural issues is that people who are HIV positive might be viewed to have had multiple partners, or other cultural issues is that some they think if the other person sleeps with a certain person, let's say who is a virgin, then they'll be cleansed from HIV, which is not the case. It's a misconception. So they may think about sexual cleansing, and then in other items to do with cultural issue is where people necessarily talk about dry sex, and there are certain traditional practices that will try to promote the dry sex and the likes. Also, there are also cultural issues that are attached to use of condoms and also child sexual abuse. So all these are some of the paradigm within cultural circles that necessarily is related to HIV and AIDS. So the counselor must provide adequate information on these issues that we have mentioned and clarify any misconception that affects our client. And for example, if someone is HIV positive, he or she may have fear of being demoted at work or even to be relieved of his work. So that's why we need to have HIV/AIDS policy at work and refer to that and then give the necessary supportive counseling to our client. So it is the responsibility of the counselor to educate the client on issues of HIV at workplace and on the human rights of people, whether HIV infected or not. So human resource officers also can help, but for those human resource officers that that have done psychosocial counseling by reassuring people and providing supportive support to these people, okay, in case of them taking a day off because they have to go and get some drugs or they have to go for review. Activities such as partner notification, health living, home-based care, okay, and preventive counseling, other medical care necessarily constitute some of the major components of supportive care, so that these people can necessarily attend to their review date. Okay, now let us talk about partner notification. Okay, so we talked about couple counseling, we have talked about supportive counseling. Okay, it's also important that we also talk about partner notification. We have a lot of people who have gone necessarily within a couple alone. They have been tested and they are taking the drugs without necessarily the partner knowing. So partner notification becomes very, very important in order to avoid reinfection, okay, and promote adherence. So partner notification is also a care strategy that is aimed at encouraging the client to self-disclosure and notify his sexual partner or spouse concerning his or her HIV status. It is very important that the clients go through the process of sharing their HIV status with someone, because it enhances the significance of HIV testing and increases the client's personal expectation about coping, care, and support. The counselor should encourage the clients to establish a time frame of achieving desirable behavior change. This may include addressing specific questions such as: when will the client disclose their HIV status to the partner or spouse? Or when will the client report progress to the counselor? Or when will the client inform or encourage the partner to take the test? Okay, and then the other question would be: when will the client consider future plans concerning his or her family? Whether the client's HIV status is positive or negative, he or she must consider the issue of telling their sexual partner about it. The client may, however, have numerous concerns about the potential repercussion of revealing his or her HIV status to their sexual partners or spouse, if at all the HIV status is positive. The concerns may include that when you tell the partner will be angry, there might be blame, maybe rejection or abandonment. The counselors should be aware of the difficulties that might be faced by women who disclose their HIV positive status to their partner. The counselor must explore the concerns with the client and also provide specific referrals whenever appropriate. The client should be helped to selectively disclose the results to the partner, close friend, or family member who will maintain the client's who maintain the information in confidence. Okay, and as an immediate step, encourage the clients to identify at least one person whom or she can tell about the HIV status. Okay, from he or he can receive also emotional support. So it's not just a matter of telling any person, because those people that you tell should be supportive and not necessarily people that can bring about the client's emotional breakdown. Okay, so here we have been talking about types of counseling. Okay, so we first we talked about group counseling. Okay, so group counseling, where individuals with similar problems come necessarily together and get the necessary education that they need. Then we went on to talk about couple counseling, which is quite unique and a little bit different from other types of counseling, in that you need to have certain essential skills and attributes as a couple counselor. You know, the other skills that we need as counselors. Okay, practical skills are that of good attending skills. Okay, and also asking open-ended question or probing questions, that of empathizing, paraphrasing, and reflective listening. But as a couple counselor, you need to have some self-awareness skills. You need to have the capacity to tolerate intensity. You need to have the ability to both validate and challenge. Okay, the other attribute or essential skill that a couple counselor needs to have is that of recognition that relationships are full of contradiction. Okay, then the fifth essential skill is that of understanding relationships in the context of cultural values and norms. Okay, so from there we went on to talk about preventive counseling. Preventive counseling necessarily refers to counseling strategy that is designed to provide continuous information and education for the promotion, motivation, and adoption of HIV risk reduction behaviors. Okay, so within this preventive counseling, we also talked about the modes of HIV transmission. Then we went on to talk about supportive counseling, okay, and some of the emotional issues and cultural issues that may arise because of this. Then another important part that we have talked about, which is not necessarily a type of counseling, but is partner notification. When one person comes to test, okay, if they have a partner, it's important that they notify their partner to avoid reinfection, and also this will necessarily help this person to maintain their either positive status, okay, without having reinfection, or maintain their negative status. Okay, so fears that are there within partner notification also should be noted in trying to make partner notification a reality. So from me, I'm saying thank you for listening and keep studying.